I don't like the concept of marriage.
I just want not just tight leash.
Now he's saying, I don't believe in marriage. Maybe I should move back home.
I don't like the concept of marriage. That's it. That's the sentence that just came out of Sumit Singh's mouth. Not in an argument about something small. Not in a random conversation. He said this directly to his wife, Jenny, the woman he fought his entire family for. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. This line is about to blow up their entire relationship. And honestly, I don't think either of them fully realizes it yet. But before I tell you what happens next, let's rewind for 1 second because you need the full picture to understand why this line hits so hard. Jenny sits Sumit down. She's calm. She's not screaming. She just wants to know one thing. Why did he take out thousands of dollars in loans without telling her? And that's when everything falls apart. Instead of an apology, instead of I'm sorry, I should have told you, Sumit does something nobody expected. He turns it around on her. He tells her that being married to her feels like living on a tight leash. Let that sink in. The man who was disowned by his own family. The man who married her in secret because his parents refused to accept the relationship. That same man is now sitting there questioning the entire idea of marriage itself. So here's the question I want stuck in your head for the rest of this video. Is Sumit actually having some deep realization about marriage? Or is this just what happens when accountability finally catches up to someone who's been hiding things for way too long? Because trust me, this is bigger than one fight about money. This is not going to stay contained. What happens next changes everything about how we understand this couple, the catfishing, the secret first marriage, the years of family rejection. All of it comes rushing back in this one moment. And by the end of this video, you are going to look at Sumit and Jenny completely differently. So stay with me, because this story goes a lot deeper than what got shown on your screen. Okay, so let's actually rewind and build this properly, because context is everything here. Jenny finds out Sumit has been taking out loans, reportedly somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000, completely behind her back. Now, at first, this looks like a simple conversation. She asks him calmly why he didn't tell her. Married couples talk about money together, right? That's not a controversial statement. That should be an easy conversation. But it isn't. And that's exactly where things start spiraling. Watch the pattern here, because this is important. Jenny brings up the secrecy. Sumit doesn't own it. Instead, he gets defensive almost instantly. And within minutes, the entire conversation flips. It's no longer, why did you hide this from me? It becomes, why are you trying to control me? You see what just happened? The real question, the one Jenny actually needed answered, just vanished into thin air. And that right there is the moment I knew this fight was not going to end cleanly. But that calm conversation will not last. Because the more Jenny pushes for honesty, the more Sumit pulls away, and that's when he drops the leash comment. And once that word is out there, leash, you cannot take it back. That word alone tells you this isn't just about one loan. This is resentment that has clearly been building for a long, long time. Now let me be fair here, because I'm not here to just drag Sumit for the sake of drama. Jenny isn't demanding to approve every rupee he spends. That's not what she's asking for. What she actually wants is a seat at the table for decisions that genuinely affect their life together. Their housing situation, their ability to eventually move out on their own, their monthly finances, even where Sumit works. That's not control. Any reasonable person would call that basic partnership. So here's the real contradiction. And this is honestly the heart of the entire episode. Sumit wants the comfort of marriage. He wants a partner. He wants Jenny by his side. He keeps saying he loves her and never wants to leave her. But in the same breath, he wants freedom from what he calls marital guilt whenever he makes a big decision alone. Do you see the problem here? He wants the benefits without some of the responsibility. And that contradiction is about to cause a lot more damage than one single argument. Ask yourself this, does Sumit actually want healthy independence within his marriage? Or does he want freedom from being accountable to his own wife? Because those are two very different things. And I genuinely don't think Sumit has figured out the difference himself yet. But things are about to get more complicated. Because this fight isn't really just between Jenny and Sumit. There's a third presence in this relationship that's been there from the very beginning. his parents. Let's rewind even further back, because this pattern has been repeating for years. His parents opposed this relationship from day one. His mother straight up rejected Jenny. Sumit ended up marrying her in secret specifically because he knew his family would never approve openly. He was temporarily disowned for choosing her. And after all that pain, all that sacrifice, guess what happened? They ended up moving in with his parents anyway. And the family calf became tied into their financial future too. So here's my take, and I think this explains almost everything. Sumit's loyalty to his family never disappeared. It just changed shape. It went from open rebellion to quiet, hidden obligation. And honestly, I think that's more dangerous, because at least before, everyone knew exactly where things stood. Now it's buried, it's subtle, and it's surfacing as secret loans that his own wife didn't know about. Let's talk numbers for a second, because this is where the frustration really makes sense. The plan, at least as it was presented to Jenny, was that moving in with his parents would ease financial pressure on both of them, save on rent, build stability. That was the deal. But that stability never actually came. Instead, Jenny lost her privacy. She lost her independence completely. Reports suggest his parents' rent contributions stopped at some point. Sumit still carried the financial weight. So he borrowed money, quietly, without telling her, and even the calf, which was supposed to be their big financial solution, didn't fix anything. So from Jenny's side, think about what this actually feels like. She uprooted her entire life. She moved across the world. She gave up her independence and her privacy for a promise that never fully delivered. And now she finds out the man she sacrificed everything for is still keeping financial secrets from her. That's not just annoying. That's genuinely painful. Now, I do want to give some fair credit here, because cultural obligation is real and I'm not going to dismiss it. In a lot of South Asian households, financially supporting your parents isn't optional. It's expected. It's woven into the culture. And I understand why Sumit felt pressure to step up. But, and this is the important part, cultural duty explains why he helped his parents. It does not explain why he hid the amount from his own wife. Those are two completely separate issues, and Sumit keeps blending them together to avoid facing the second one. And here's where things get worse. This loan situation is not happening in isolation. It's reactivating every single old wound in this relationship. The catfishing when they first connected online. The fact that Sumit was still in an arranged marriage when things started with Jenny. The secrecy around their actual wedding. And now, financial secrets on top of it all. So for Jenny, this isn't just he borrowed some money. It's after everything we survived together, you still decided I couldn't be trusted with the truth. And that hits so much deeper than any dollar amount. Let's be fair to both people here, because good commentary looks at both sides. Jenny moved across the world, endured years of rejection, waded through his complicated divorce, married him despite constant uncertainty, and agreed to live under his parents' roof. Her frustration is completely earned. But Sumit is also genuinely caught between two people who both expect his loyalty. He probably feels like every single choice disappoints someone. He seems deeply conflict avoidant. And that leash comment tells me this isn't about one fight. It's years of buildup finally breaking through. His feelings might be real, but secrecy is never the right way to handle real feelings. And that's what makes this so hard to fully defend. But that private argument didn't stay private for long, because the second this episode aired, social media absolutely exploded. On Reddit, the reaction to Sumit saying he doesn't like the concept of marriage was pure shock. People genuinely could not process that line coming from him specifically, of all the cast members. But here's what's interesting. Many viewers in that same discussion actually expressed sympathy for Jenny, pointing out she's dealing with secret loans on top of everything else in her personal life right now. On Instagram, the clips that blew up were specifically the concept of marriage line and the tight leash comment. Those two phrases became the most shared, most quoted, most reacted to moments from this entire storyline. That tells you exactly what struck a nerve with people watching. Now here's where the audience genuinely splits, and I want to walk you through each side fairly. Some fans feel very strongly that Sumit wants marriage without any real responsibility attached to it. Their argument goes, he hid the debt, he got defensive the moment he got caught, he keeps changing the subject whenever accountability comes up, and he's leaned on Jenny's forgiveness over and over throughout their entire relationship. But that's not the whole story, because many viewers are saying something completely different. This group believes Jenny might be using her past sacrifices as permanent leverage in every single argument. They point out that Jenny frequently reminds Sumit of everything she gave up, that he might feel like he can never make one decision without being made to feel guilty about it, and that their communication pattern has started feeling more like parent and child than husband and wife. And here's the thing, I think a section of the audience is landing on the most balanced take, and honestly, I agree with them. Both of them are stuck in a cycle neither one knows how to break. Sumit avoids conflict by hiding things. Jenny finds out and naturally becomes more guarded. Sumit feels that guardedness and hides even more. Jenny trusts him even less. And round it spins. Now I want to be honest with you here, because I'm not going to pretend there's some perfect universal consensus across every single platform. Figuring out exactly how the wider fan base feels is genuinely difficult. And I won't manufacture a fake everyone agrees narrative just for views. But these are the real documented conversations happening in the spaces where fans are actively discussing this couple right now. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because I don't actually think Sumit hates marriage. I think he hates what marriage demands from him during conflict. That line, I don't like the concept of marriage, feels emotionally reactive to me. Not some deep philosophy he's been sitting on for years. What I think he's really trying to say, underneath all of it, is that he feels constantly monitored. He feels like he can never fully satisfy both Jenny and his parents at the same time. He feels judged every time he tries to make an independent decision. But here's Sumit's biggest, most repeated mistake, and I want you to really hear this. He treats his own discomfort as an excuse for secrecy. Feeling overwhelmed does not justify hiding a $20,000 loan from your spouse. Those are two separate problems, and he keeps merging them into one excuse. Let's actually break down the pattern step by step, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Sumit predicts how Jenny is going to react to something, so he withholds the information. Jenny eventually finds out anyway, because she always does. And because it was hidden from her, her reaction becomes more intense than it probably would have been if he'd just told her up front. Then Sumit uses that intense reaction as proof of exactly why he hid it in the first place. And neither one of them ever actually addresses the original fear driving this entire loop. It just keeps spinning, over and over. And honestly, there's this one moment in the episode that works as the perfect symbol for everything happening in their marriage. The cliff exercise. Sumit is physically suspended in the air. Jenny completely freezes up. He keeps asking her, please, just talk to me, communicate with me. A therapist has to step in and help Jenny find her voice. And eventually, together, with outside help, they complete the task. But that happiness will not last. Because now flip the situation completely. In the emotional version of this same dynamic, the roles reverse. Jenny needs honesty from Sumit. And this time, Sumit is the one who shuts down and stops communicating. Except this time, there's no therapist standing there to help them. Nobody helps them finish the conversation. And the issue just sits there, completely unresolved. That parallel to me says more about this relationship than any single argument ever could. So what does this actually mean for their future? If this pattern doesn't change, and patterns like this rarely change on their own, I fully expect more hidden financial decisions down the road. Continued resentment tied to his parents. Jenny feeling increasingly unsafe in this relationship. Sumit feeling increasingly cornered and controlled. And I do want to add one important note here, because context matters. This episode was filmed before Jenny publicly shared her ALS diagnosis, so we absolutely should not assume Sumit made these comments already knowing about that diagnosis. That timeline matters, and being fair here means being accurate. So where does all of this actually go from here? What happens next changes everything, but maybe not in the way you're expecting. My honest prediction is that they stay together, at least for now, but this specific debt conflict does not get fully resolved. It just gets temporarily shelved, buried under the surface, waiting to resurface later. And look, think about everything this couple has already survived together. Catfishing, a secret marriage, years of open family rejection, visa complications, financial instability, deep cultural conflict, layered on top of everything else. One argument, even a serious one like this, is unlikely to end things immediately. This couple has been through worse and stayed standing. But that doesn't mean this fight just disappears. I think this loan situation is going to attach itself to a much bigger decision down the line, whether they continue living with his parents, whether Sumit starts working outside the family business entirely, whether they seriously pursue moving to the US together, who actually gets to control financial information going forward, and how much responsibility they truly owe his parents moving into the future. Now, the less likely outcome, in my honest opinion, is Jenny permanently leaving and returning to America purely because of this one fight alone. Her frustration is real, her threat in the moment is emotionally genuine. But based on what's been shared publicly after filming Wrapped, they've continued presenting themselves as a couple, including conversations around starting Sumit's US visa process. So an immediate breakup should not be treated as confirmed fact. And I want to be responsible about that instead of chasing a dramatic headline that isn't proven. Here's my strongest prediction for where this storyline goes. Sumit eventually apologizes for the secrecy itself, but he probably won't fully let go of his belief that Jenny puts too much pressure on him, which means the surface-level argument might cool down for now, but the actual root cause survives underneath it, quietly waiting for the next time money, family, or trust becomes an issue again. And trust me, with this couple, it always does. So let's bring everything together, because I know that was a lot. Sumit did not directly say he regrets marrying Jenny. What he revealed was resentment toward what marriage expects from him emotionally. And Jenny isn't only reacting to this one loan, she's reacting to yet another hidden truth in a relationship that's already survived so many of them before. His obligation to his family is real, but so is his obligation to his own wife. And at this point, I don't think their biggest problem is whether they love each other, because I genuinely don't think that's ever been in question here. Their real problem is whether love alone can survive without financial trust holding it together underneath. So here's what I actually want to know from you, and I mean this. Was Jenny using the idea of marriage to control Sumit? Or was Sumit calling basic accountability a tight leash simply because he didn't want to face the consequences of hiding that debt in the first place? Drop your honest take in the comments below, because I genuinely want to hear both sides of this argument. And if this kind of deep breakdown is what you're here for, hit subscribe. Because we are going way past recaps this season, we're getting into what's actually going on underneath the surface. I'll see you in the next one.